What it do? What it does, folks? It's your boy OG Dope. We back with another video. Y'all know how it go. Today we got white folks emotional reaction to Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show. For those people who said that the show was boring, they didn't like it, they weren't rocking with it, one of the worst ones ever. It clearly went over y'all head. It was so much imagery, so much symbolism, so many messages, so many gems and Easter eggs, and some of them pretty blatant to see. You know what I'm saying? And if you thought this was one of the worst out there, you have clearly lost your mind. And it wasn't meant for you. Because your mind is not open to see what it is and what it ain't at this point. Well, we're gonna check out this video. White folks getting emotional. And we gonna react to it, man. We're gonna see what it is and what it ain't. Let's do it. Appreciate y'all joining up. If y'all new to the channel, make sure y'all leave a like, sub, comment. You know what I'm saying? Let me know what y'all thoughts are. It's free 99. Don't cost you a dime, but a click of your time. All right, let's jump right into it.
A Southern white woman's take on the Kendrick Lamar halftime performance at the Super Bowl. Here we go. I loved it. I don't even listen to his music. I'm not gonna pretend like I'm some kind of mega fan.
Right.
I don't know most of his stuff. But oh my Lord, when he came out and said, "The revolution will be televised. The right time, the wrong guy." Oh my God. I understood the assignment. He literally had such beautiful symbolism threaded through his entire performance, from Serena Williams, crip walking, to Samuel L. Jackson as Uncle Sam. The American flag divided. The dancers who performed and did the, move where they have their backs up to show how America was built on the backs
of black folks.
Black Americans who were treated unjustly for so many years. Man, he killed it. And the subliminal messaging and symbolism just went right over all of MAGA's head. But those who were supposed to get the assignment got the assignment. I got the assignment.
You know I don't do sports,
She said, I got the assignment. But she hit it on the head. For those who didn't understand it or who thought it was whack or who weren't rocking with it, it clearly went over y'all head. Y'all really weren't paying attention. Y'all wasn't. Y'all was just ready to y'all was there to have a good time. But Kendrick told y'all, man, it's time to watch the party die.
No, I don't do football, so I wasn't watching the game. But listen, I think today Donald Trump is going to sign an executive order banning black people from halftime. Because you remember last week we were talking about whether the NFL was capitulating to Trump by removing the term "end racism" from the end zone. Yeah. Boy, did they not capitulate to Trump. When I saw Samuel L. Jackson dressed as a black Uncle Sam introducing Kendrick Lamar, who then had like an entire formation of all black people making a U.S. flag. Listen, this much I know. All the black people on my feed were like, ooh, this is blackity black black. And all the racists who somehow get in, man, were they hopping mad. So if the racists are mad, I am happy as a clam. Huge celebration of New Orleans, and you can't celebrate New Orleans without celebrating black culture.
Facts.
Welcome to Black History Month, you all.
Well said, sister. Well said. Well said. I love that. She is not lying. She hit it right on the head. And I agree with everything she said, man. Welcome to Black History Month. That man didn't disappoint. For sure.
One of the lines that has become clear to me in Kendrick Lamar's performance last night is 40 acres and a mule. And that line is particularly potent for many black Americans. And it happens to be a line that I remember from my education growing up in grade school in the Bronx. And I vaguely remember what it was about. It was something that was promised enslaved people. I can't remember whether I was told it was before or after emancipation, but it had to do with the Civil War.
You got to understand something. She's obviously an elderly woman, right? And she remembers this when she was in school. So the stuff that they talking about with the 40 acres in the mule, or the ending of segregation, slavery, and all of that, if you really think about it, bruh, if you really think about it, it wasn't that long ago.
And I've since had my memory refreshed. And it was something that the federal government promised enslaved people that they would get, and it would help them get a head start. But as with many promises given to Native Americans, they didn't come through. And I never really equated 40 acres and a mule, because it was not something that really ever touched my life. But in thinking about it this morning, I never really equated it with something else that was very important to American life, which was the Homestead Act. Now, if you don't recall the Homestead Act,
the Homestead Act, they gave people, when I say people, I mean white folks, a place to choose. If I'm right, 'cause I remember the Homestead Act. I studied history on this part. I paid attention to history, let me say that. But the Homestead Act, it gave people, white folks, 160 acres of land of their choosing. And I think all they had to do was farm on it or work the land, if I'm not mistaken. But free to them. You had to pay nothing for it, free. Yeah, people come from everywhere to get it and start building and farming on whatever 60 acres, 160 acres of land to your choosing. And people don't realize that right there started. If you don't understand land, that's generational wealth. That right there, when they allowed them people to pick that granted generational wealth for outsiders and white folks, but not black people. And this country was built on the backs of black people. And we didn't even get the 40 acres and a mule to get a head start. They didn't give us a damn thing. They promised it to us, but they didn't give us nothing. But what they did do is let white folks pick out 160 acres of land that they wanted to their choosing. All they got to do is work it, and they don't pay nothing for it. That right there was the start of generational wealth for a lot of white folks, if I'm not mistaken.
For some reason, there's a lot of American history that was that really stayed with me. And the Homestead Act was an act that the federal government felt was extremely important because they wanted to populate the Midwestern part of our country, the prairie. And so they offered 160 acres free and clear to people who would farm the land, ranch the land. I guess it was really only good for farming, but they would give free and clear 160 acres to people, and they had mapped out a huge swath of prairie land. And it was white people who took that land, and that's how a lot of our Midwest cities came into being.
If you know history, you know history, bro. This has been around. You can go look this up. This ain't rocket science. It's exactly what they let happen with the Homestead Act. Crazy, ain't it?
And they didn't rescind that promise. They gave 160 acres to people free and clear. All they had to do was stake it out. And this may be apocryphal, but I seem to remember in class hearing how there was a date and they had people lining up and they set off a bell and you could just go and stake out your plot of land and it was yours and you could farm it. And that was the beginning of generational wealth for a lot of white people. A lot of these people came from Germany and Middle European countries, and they got a stake in this country.
But we need to go back to where we from. Let me stop.
And here we have enslaved people who were brought over against their will and finally released from bondage and promised for their servitude they would be given 40 acres and a mule, and they got nothing. And they had to start from scratch. Just a thought.
And we still here. We're resilient people and we ain't going nowhere. No matter what you do, how you do it, we ain't going nowhere. That's just the people, man. That's us. We ain't going nowhere. The original folk ain't going nowhere, bro. No matter how. Man, let me not get too deep into that. Let's get it.
Think about that. Think about how you'd feel if that promise was made to you and then you were just blown off. Okay, that's it. See you next time.
And you can tell she was emotionally disturbed by that. Recognizing that truth and looking back on that to where she's at now, she's emotionally disturbed by that. Just thinking about that.
Hi.
Hey.
White woman here. I'd like to talk about the Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl performance.
Talk to me.
It was absolute perfection in every way. The artistry, the symbolism, the music. You know, here's the thing. Even if it wasn't your type of music, it was still really, really amazing how each song with the performance meshed together with the message. The opening sequence when he was on the car and then he was in the middle of the flag, the way I looked at that was
As if you
America was built on the backs of black people, slaves. That's how America was built. Okay. And that's how I took that scene. And when he said,
You took it right, baby.
40 acres and a mule, I didn't know that that's what was offered to slaves. I had no idea, because guess what? I wasn't taught that. And the one thing for someone like me, I grew up in white America, Southwest Pennsylvania. Okay. Like 90% of my area is white people. So I grew up, the only reference I have for black culture is through music. I grew up with Tupac, Dr. Dre, NWA, Ice Cube, Mystical, and Master P.
She said Mystical, Master P. Hey, she a gangster. I love her.
You know, even Biggie and Puff Daddy. And I mean, I hate to say that, but that was just like growing up in the 90s, right? Like those were who a lot of people listened to.
Facts. Absolute facts.
My first major news story was Rodney King. That's how I was introduced to how black people are treated in America. Like, black music for someone like me, I used it as like a learning tool. Like, oh my God, I had no idea this was going on. Like, oh my God, this is what I should, learn more about. Like, I took it as education. Obviously I liked the music, but I actually listened to what was being said, and then as much research as I could do at the time, talking to friends or whatever, and, reading, going to the library, going through the card catalog, reading about things. Right. Because we were never taught things in school. I was taught that George Washington had wooden teeth, had no idea that he had teeth made from his slaves. Right. Like, no idea, because we weren't taught that. So I used black music to teach me. And I also want to say, for the white people out there, that Super Bowl was for the black community. That was for black people. It was to us. We need to take that.
Ooh. I got chills when she said that. I ain't gonna lie. That was for black people, but to us. Ooh, she understands, man. I gotta hear that again. She understood.
It was to us, community. That was for black people. Right. It was to us. We need to take that and we need to learn from it. Because that messaging and that symbolism was so important. We cannot let that slip away from us to learn from and do better. Kendrick Lamar gave us an assignment. Let's fucking take it, okay?
Come on. Hey. I like her. I love what she just said, man. I love what she just said.
Things I could say about Kendrick Lamar's halftime show, and it's the only reason that I watched the Super Bowl, but the one thing that sticks out to me is when he said, you can rig the game, but you can't fake influence. I'm not sure a lot of people understood a lot of the things that he said, because he is as a lot of people have said, he's a messenger. He's a lyricist. He's not an entertainer. And a lot of Americans are looking for mindless fucking entertainment. So
Facts.
a lot of people are bored by it. It's like the biggest thing I've seen is people saying
Cook,
that they're
baby.
bored. Well, maybe you should fix your entertainment addiction. I don't know. He also said the 40 acres and a mule. And if you don't know what that is, you should get a history lesson. And I really love that quote, even above the revolution will be televised, because what he was getting at there, if you didn't realize, is that the game has been rigged against the Black community since day one that their ancestors stepped onto this land. Even with the way that the system has been rigged, the Black community has had the largest influence on our culture in this country. I especially love that in the month of February, we are talking about this and the Black community is having a renaissance. This is their renaissance. The fact that we are really talking about the influences of Black culture and how many of the things that we love today stem from their genius.
Big facts.
Their genius and their...
A lot of the stuff that people enjoy today, they really don't understand. It's definitely because of Black people. Even if you're on Instagram, the whole algorithm and how that is worked and how that is ran was from a Black college student, African kid. I forgot what country it was in Africa, but it was from an African kid. A lot of things that we enjoy, we really don't understand that it's from Black folk, man.
Creativity and the influence they have had on our society.
Thanks.
I didn't watch the game, but I watched the halftime show because I really like Kendrick Lamar.
Listen, I'm so mind blown by that, and I absolutely love that. Nobody's watching the game, but they wanted to see what Kendrick was going to do and what he was going to say because they're a fan. You know how huge that is in America? Damn the game. I just want to watch the performance. That's big with it. Just that statement alone is big within itself. I love it.
I have a 25 and 23-year-old daughters, right? So I gave them a musical education. They gave me a musical education. Huh. And I'll never forget the first time that they played him in the car like 10 years ago. And I went, who is this? Who is this? And they told me, and I was like, play more, play more. And now I love it because when they're DJing in the car, especially my youngest daughter, she'll put them on because she knows I really like them. I want to make a point. I know everybody is doing their deep philosophical takes on the halftime show, but this is just something that occurred to me.
What's up? Talk to me.
Many years ago, a person in my life who is no longer in my life, but is now MAGA, right? That didn't exist back then, but we were at a museum looking at art, and it became clear very quickly that in her mind, the only function of art is to be beautiful. That's it. There is no other function of art. Like if you have to think about it, or if it's even remotely ugly, she completely dismissed its value. And she was like, why would anyone want to look at art that's not beautiful? And I'm like, and I loved my art history classes in college. And so I'm trying in earnest to help her understand why art isn't just to be pretty and to make us happy. Now, here's the point. The halftime show is just another example of people like her, who we now have a term for them. We call them MAGA or MAGA. And that is, they don't want to think.
They just want to be entertained.
They want the thing to be the thing. If it's beyond that, they get angry and they get mad and they get frustrated. So last night, all the halftime show for someone with that kind of brain, all it's meant to do is sing and dance and entertain. That's it. Anything beyond that is too much for their little brains. And not only is it too much, it makes them mad.
And that's why it went over so many people's heads.
It pisses them off that they have to think, that they have to go, ooh, is there like a deeper message to this? Now, I think he did a really good job of making some of the messages not so obtuse that it gets lost. I think some of it was maybe a little obvious. I don't know. But they don't like that. They don't, especially when it comes to Black and brown people, don't do anything other than entertain me, give me a good experience, and then you go off and do your thing. They don't want any Black or brown person to actually challenge us or cause us to think or to wonder or to ask questions or to no. And they would see doing that at a halftime show as extremely inappropriate to do because your job is to just entertain us. So anyways, I don't know if that matters. It's just something that struck me this morning is that they're so surface level, they're so one-dimensional,
Right.
that to think deeply about these things. And this is a guy who won a Pulitzer Prize for his lyrics, right? So he's obviously going to make us think, but they don't like it. It pisses them off. And just one more thing, I love all of this was happening in New Orleans. I don't know why, but that gave me a lot of satisfaction. And I nearly fell out of my seat when I saw Serena Williams. I could not believe it. I was telling my daughter, I was like, oh my God. I was like, that's Serena Williams doing the crip walk. And I was like, she dated Drake, because I'm chronically online. And she was like, yes, Mom, I know. She's like, okay, take a deep breath. Anyways, it was great.
Hey folks, what's up? I hope you all know the culture, the history of the.
Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about. But look, as if, I love that. Like, and for me, that's what I really think music is about. And that's what I really love about music. That's the type of music I love. Music that's going to make you think. And them the type of artists I love. The artists that's going to make you think. That's going to put your brain to the test. That's going to make you dig deep. It's going to make you dive deeper than the surface. They really make you connect dots. They really make you, they really move you. They really get to the core stuff. Those artists I absolutely love, man. I respect those type of artists. And there's not a lot of them around these days as mainstream really at all for the most part. Because now labels and now what music is just pushing entertainment and BS to the forefront. No skill. We call it microwave music because they heat up quick, then they done with it. That's it. They heat up fast and it's done with. It's just microwave music. It don't last. It's just some BS for the time. But any artist, man, that can make me think, that can make me use my brain, that can make me dig deeper than the surface, that can really make me, you know what I'm saying, look at some on a bigger picture and that has a message. I love and I respect those type of artists, man. And it's so great to see an artist like Kendrick Lamar. See, I've been on Kendrick Lamar music since Overly Dedicated, like way back in the day. I had my old coach put me on to Kendrick Lamar years ago. And he told, I'd never in my life forget this. He was like, cause he know I mess with music too outside of, everything else that I do. And he was like, hey man, you should check out this dude named Kendrick Lamar. And I didn't know who he was, what it was about. I was already listening to Nipsey at that time too. So I was like, okay, let me try to, like get on this music. And the first stuff I heard, I'm like, damn, he different. You know what I'm saying? Like he talking that conscious talk for real. And I love them type of artists. And I just stayed with him and just kept listening, and watched him grow from where he was to where he at now. It's such a crazy journey. And I love it that he's brought all of these messages and he never wavered from who he was as far as what he was about and the stuff that he talked about. Kendrick been talking about this type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? He been shedding light on a lot of black issues or just speaking on a lot of black things within the community in general. You know what I'm saying? But I love the fact that he did it at the biggest stage. You know what I'm saying? And he did it on the biggest stage and did it to a point where so many people were moved and so many people were upset where he got everybody talking. He got people breaking it down, explaining it for the people who didn't get it, for the people who didn't get it, seeking to understand it. You know what I'm saying? To gain better knowledge on it, and it's making so many people talk about it. And we see it now in this video with these white folks who really not, onto his music. But for them to go say, damn the game, I'm going straight to the halftime show to listen and figure out what, watch him to see what he gonna do, see what he gonna say. That says a lot, bro. That says an absolute lot. I ain't gonna ramble too much on, man. This video already hella long. Y'all let me know what y'all thoughts are in the comment section, man. Let's talk about it. If y'all new to the channel, make sure I hit that sub button. You know what I'm saying? Let's run them subs up. We're trying to hit 1,000. We're trying to grow. And it starts with y'all, all right? Shout out to everybody that's already been subbing and showing love, man. I appreciate y'all. It's free 99. Don't cost you a dime, but a click of your time, all right? Y'all know the slogan. Y'all boys be cool. How y'all be cool? Make sure y'all tell somebody you love them. And most of all, man, stay safe and stay dangerous. OG gang out. Oh, and if y'all anything like me, I always keep it OG. We out.